Welcome to Some Guy's Garage. I've got 16 different DeWalt drivers. So we have screwdrivers, we have impact drivers, impact wrenches, regular drills, and some of the bigger impact wrenches, and a giant mixing drill. And we're going to find out which one's the fastest at driving a lag bolt. This is a standard 1/4 inch by 5 inch lag bolt that you use on wood, and we're just going to drive it into a 6x6 with each one and see which one's the fastest. Let's get started. Okay, I've got a chunk of 6x6. I've drilled a bunch of pilot holes in it with a 5/32 drill bit just to get them started. It's only about maybe half the drill bit's depth into the wood, so just enough to get them started, but they're going to still have to drive their way home through solid wood. To keep it fair, I'm going to use the same batteries on all the tools, all freshly charged. So we'll use a 2 amp hour on the 12 volt tools, a 5 amp hour on the 20 volt tools, and a 9 amp hour on the 160 volt tool. So that'll keep the playing field level. There'll be no battery advantages, and they'll be freshly charged between each run. Similarly, I'm going to use the same socket adapter with a 7/16 inch socket on it for all of the drills and drivers and impact wrenches, except the 1/2 inch drive will use a 7/16 half drive socket. Let's get the testing underway with the DCF 610, and it's fully charged. All right, that's the DCF 610. It smells a little smoky and did not make it all the way to the end. Next up, we have the DCF 801 1/4 inch impact driver in 12 volts. And the DCF 801 finished. Next up, we have the DCF 601. This is a 12 volt screwdriver. The DCF 601 did not finish. It cut out just a little bit past the older DCF 610 screwdriver. Next up, the DCF 887. This is the 20 volt 1/4 inch impact driver. No problem for the 887. Next up, we have the DCF 845 20 volt 1/4 inch impact driver. No problem for the 845, buried it right in there. Next up, the DCF 850, which is the 20 volt atomic 1/4 inch brushless impact driver. Again, no problem for the DCF 850. Moving on to an impact wrench, this is the DCF 890 and 3/8 inch drive. The 890 also did quite well. Now we have the newer 3/8 inch impact. This is the DCF 923. And as expected, that's a lot better than the older 890. Now onto some drills. This is the 12 volt DCD 710. And the DCD 710 cutout did not finish. Now we have the newer DCD 701, still 12 volt. And surprisingly, the DCD 701 cut out sooner than the DCD 710. Moving up in size, this is the DCD 708 atomic 20 volt. That might have cut out, but I didn't have a 5 amp hour battery on it. Let's try that again. Okay, that's a little better with the 708. We didn't cut out this time with the bigger battery on it. Okay, now the DCD 800 20 volt drill. Wow, that was fast. Moving right along, this is the DCF 894 1/2 inch impact wrench. Nice and strong from the 894. Next up, the DCD 996 20 volt hammer drill. And of course I messed up again and used a little 1.5 amp hour battery pack. Still did pretty good, but we'll try that again. Okay, we've got the 5 amp hour. Let's go again. Yeah, that guy brings the beans, kind of like the DCD 800. I think I'm seeing a trend with these drills. Okay, now the big DCF 899 high torque impact wrench. This thing has so much torque it barely started hammering till the very end. Okay, and last but not least, the DCD 130. This is a 60 volt mixing drill. You know, it might not be the fastest, but it was effortless for it. You could tell it just wanted to keep going. Here are the results, and there are a few things to note. The 12 volt drills and screwdrivers really have no business driving lag bolts this big. None of them were able to finish, and you could possibly do damage with one letting out a little bit of smoke. The only 12 volt tool that did finish was the impact driver, but also in the worst time across the board. Between the three 20 volt impact drivers, and despite the better time on the 887, it looks like I didn't drive the lag bolt in fully, so the 845 was definitely still the fastest. The 850 though would probably closely tie the 887, as we found out in my other video dedicated to the impact drivers, so go check that out for more on the impacts. The 20 volt drills were the champs in terms of speed. Without the impacting mechanism, they just drive the lag bolt straight home as long as they have the torque. The DCD 800 is crazy fast, even beating out the bigger 996 hammer drill. Though this is the older model hammer drill, and I'm sure the newer 998 or 999 would be faster still. The impact wrenches did alright, not the fastest, but certainly the safer bet on larger lag bolts than I tested here, where the drills might not be able to drive them at all. Except the mixing drill, that is. It had torque to spare, but the lower RPM design didn't help it win the race. Overall, the win has to go to the DCD 800. I was actually surprised just how fast it was. Okay, that was a bunch of fun. Some clear winners, the DCD 800 and of course the 996, but really impressed with it, just how quickly it was able to drive that lag. Some not so fortunate ones down in the 12 volt range, especially the old brushed ones, they struggled. Really beyond their capacity normally anyway, so I didn't expect them to finish, but very much lacking. The impact drivers, they all did very well. No issues driving things in, and plenty of torque, just a little bit slower with the impacting mechanism. Similarly with the impact wrenches, also a bit slower just because of that impacting mechanism. The DCD 130 mixing drill, it had no problem with that. Plenty of torque, just not a lot of RPM, but makes sense. This could probably drive a much bigger lag bolt. With bigger stuff though, the drills are probably not going to be the answer. If you're driving something like this is a, I don't know, 1/2 inch by 10 inch lag bolt, something like this into wood, the drills are going to bog down. They're not going to make it. This guy might do it. The impact drivers, they're going to struggle a bit, and that's really where the bigger impact wrenches are going to come in handy. These guys could actually drive them. They'll take a little while, but it's more within their torque capabilities than the smaller stuff here. Anyway, all in all, pretty interesting test. Hopefully you found this helpful. It's kind of odd to see drills and impact drivers and impact wrenches all compared to each other, but I think this illustrates just the differences in power and speed that each one of these has. Anyway, if you have any questions about any of these, let me know in the comments below. I do have review videos on a few of these, so check those out as well. If you like what you saw today, please consider subscribing. And as always, thanks for watching.